What is up, StarCraft 2 fans? It is Lasercorn with Mahalo Video Games, and today we are bringing you a game from the Zotac Cup number 59 finals. So this is the final series between these two players, and I am not sure, but I think Aristio, our Protoss player here, is rolling random, as I saw in the replays that one time he had Zerg, and the other two I think he is Protoss. So I have to assume that in a tournament such as this, you wouldn't be allowed to change races. So I'm going to go ahead and say Aristio is rolling random, which is pretty impressive considering he's in the finals of the Zotac Cup. And I think the prize pool on that is 100 euros. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Go ahead. Anyway, Lasercorn with Mahalo Video Games here. And if before this game starts rolling, go ahead and send me an email to Lasercorn. That's Lasercorn with an S, not a Z, at Mahalo Game. I'm sorry, Lasercorn at Mahalo with your Battle.net name and character code if you want to play in the Lasercorn Challenge, where you could win a $50 gift card to GameStop. So Lasercorn at Mahalo.com. Send me an email, Battle.net name and character code. We will play. It will be exciting and fun, and then it'll get thrown up on the channel here. So yeah, do that. Anyway, back to the action. We're here on Metalopolis. Very interesting map, an old standard. You've got your gold expansions here in the center. Of course, the Xel'Naga watchtowers, which can, if you set up siege tanks on them, you can see right into your right into both of the golds and actually do some damage to the units and structures there. So interesting map. And control of those Xel'Naga watchtowers might become key. We see the orbital command morphing in for Baratok. Standard Terran play right there at about 15. Or really, as soon as you can get it, you want to start getting that orbital command and getting those mules in play. We can see Marines being pumped out now. This is kind of interesting, as he's not walling off, and he just seems to be pumping Marines. A lot of times you would see another barracks or something up, or something. But interesting play from Baratok. And it looks like we got a Cyber Core on the way here. Almost done, actually, for Aristio. And our Terran player is getting a factory. Okay, so he's probably opening 1-1-1. One barracks, one factory, one starport. The Destiny Cloud Fist, as it's sometimes called. Coined by Husky. And a good opening, very versatile opening, allows a lot of different harass styles, and also allows you to get tanks if you want a tank push. So good opening, very solid. And look at this, it looks like he's decided to wall off now. Fairly unconventional play. If you're going to wall off, you usually decide to wall off right at the beginning and put a barracks up there, something stronger than a supply depot. Very interesting. And we can see Aristio has control of that Xel'Naga watchtower, kind of has map control. Terran SCV running around out here, not really running around, just chilling on this ramp. A little bit odd. It's not really what I'm expecting. This is what I'm expecting, though. Excellent play here. You can see a pylon going up in this steam vent. This is to prevent the Terran player from dropping forces here in the concealment of the steam, and the Protoss player wouldn't know about it until a bunch of stimmed up Marines burst out of here and started destroying all of his probes. So good strategy there by Aristio. We're assuming random player, and you gotta have respect for. Okay, so it's not really a wall off. He just put one. He's putting another supply depot up here. He's almost playing some kind of like tower defense game here, where he's creating a little maze that the opponent will have to go through to get into his base. He's leaving room for them to get by, but you would have to get by that barracks, and that Stalker says, no thank you, I want no part of that. So it's working so far, whatever he's doing. You can see the Protoss approach to defending the ramp involves getting these sentries that can cast that force field. And what they generally do is either they'll force field before any of the units make it up the ramp, or even sneakier and more diabolical, they'll wait till a couple Marines get up here, split them up with the force field, and then take out the units at the top, while the units at the bottom watch helplessly out of range and just have to watch their buddies die and get destroyed. Observer now out for the Protoss. And you can see there's an SCV. I don't know why he wouldn't just build a structure there. There's an SCV watching his steam vent area, just in case a proxy pylon gets set up there and a bunch of units get warped in, which would be terrible, terrible news. And it looks like, wow, a Raven is out on the field. A Raven for Bratok. Wow, I am interested to see what kind of strategy he's going to have that involves this Raven. Obviously, the Raven as an observer is going to be able to shut down scouting. That observer is trapped outside the base. If he comes in there, he knows the Raven's going to hunt him down and kill him. So whatever Bratok is doing, he's doing it in secret. He doesn't want his opponent seeing what's going on. And we see a switch here from the... now he's getting a reactor on his starport instead of the tech lab, which means he'll be able to start pumping out Vikings or medvacs 2 at a time. Meanwhile, our Protoss player getting the Colossus and is the... Yes, there's the extended thermal lance. Gotta have the extended thermal lance for that extra range. Keep you out of range of those bunkers. You don't want to just stroll up next to those bunkers. And the Colossi is out. The Colossi, great unit. Actually, heavy siege unit and also... an interesting choice for harass if you could just walk up cliffs. Oh, but it looks like you'll have trouble walking up Bratok's cliff with those Marines right there. That would be interesting and probably bad for Aristio. Bratok throwing down 2 more barracks to bring him to a total of 3 racks, 1 factory, 1 starport. And yes, good move at this stage in the game. You do want to have a little more infantry than he has right now. We can see Stimpak on the way, and I have to believe he'll follow that up with Marine shields as he has Marines out and no Marauders at this point. What is he doing? He has set up his siege tank on top of these supply depots. Not sure I agree with that move, if only because if he had set it up behind, he really doesn't lose that much range, and also Zealots would have to run and hit this supply depot wall first if he had it up. Whereas right now they can just run right up there, and got a Raven and a Viking running around over here. No kills on either one of them. Okay, I was afraid I was missed something. They were running around suspiciously over there. And okay, so we've got our Terran player expanding. Our Protoss player has expanded, and he has a interesting little contingent of units here. Okay, good. He's warping in some more. I was going to say it's not really enough to protect the Colossus, and 2 Colossi now, but the Terran player. I want to say he anticipated it because he's getting Vikings, but no, he's getting medvacs, and he is going to need Vikings to deal with the Colossi. Colossi, even if you do have Stimpaks, proper Colossi micromanagement will allow you to destroy Terran infantry units, Marauders, Marines, things like that. And yeah, they'll run out ahead. They'll get lasered by that thermal lance, and that'll be that, and they'll be in serious trouble. So I would like to see, there we go, I would like to see some Vikings coming out for the Terran player. You can see that's exactly what he's doing. I would also like to see, well, I guess, I like to see when Protoss players get creative with the Colossus, but at the same time, they're a very expensive unit, and I can understand not wanting to run them up and down cliffs and risk, well, getting blown away by siege tanks for starters, and just losing an expensive unit this early on. He doesn't know that his opponent only has like 1 Viking out at this point, although that other one's almost finished. And oh, down goes the observer, and now he's got to make another one of those because you don't want to be without scouting. Let's see if we see one on the production tab. No, thus far. What was that? The Terran player just threw down a gun turret from his Raven. Gun turret, 1 by itself, not enough to really do any damage. Just kind of almost a taunt from the Terran player right there. And let's see, is our... Oh, we've got a proxy pylon out over here. Oh, not really a proxy pylon, I'm sorry. I got confused for a second. Just a pylon down up here that would allow him to warp units in close to this 3rd expansion that he's taking. So I guess, yeah, technically a proxy pylon, but normally when you say that, you mean it's close to your opponent's base and allows you to warp in units quickly to your opponent. 1 Marauder standing tall on this Xel'Naga watchtower, but it's going to be the Marauder's last stand. Yep. Well, he got a couple shots off. And, the Terran army looking to avenge that dead Marauder there. Possibly. Look at this on the production tab. Psystorm and Templar coming out. Templar and Colossi mean death. Doom. Death and doom for infantry units. And they can also feed back this Raven, which would be an interesting choice if the Protoss player decides to go that route. But really, he has nothing to deal with these Vikings that are going to take out his Colossi. That is not nearly enough Stalkers to deal with the Air Force, that Bratok is bringing, and we are about to see that Air Force go into action very soon. He really is playing more defensively than he has to. With that many Vikings, he can afford to go in there and take out some Colossi and maybe even lose a Viking and still make a good trade there. And here we go. The Terran army is engaging. Oh my goodness, he needs to run out of those Psy Storms, but he wasn't. And those, whoa, he's even Psy Storming the Vikings. He does need to do something to take care of those, as those Colossi are going down left and right to that Viking fire. And you can see the Viking retreating. Point defense drone, PDD is out, and it was tanking some damage, but oh my goodness, Vikings landing now, really making excellent use of these Vikings. After they had taken out the Colossi, they land and start going after the Stalkers. Oh, but he may have overextended himself as another Stalker comes out here, and all those Vikings are going to go down. Excellent defense by the Protoss player. I really didn't think he had enough Stalkers to deal with it, but throwing down Psy Storms on the Vikings, very unconventional play, but it worked. It worked, and all those Vikings died. Well, in part due to a little bit of a misstep by the Terran there. I don't think he should have reached into the Protoss base and tried to land all his Vikings. Not really the smartest move. What is this feedback? No, Blink. I'm sorry, coming out. You don't have to research feedback. The Blink coming out now for these Stalkers. Interesting choice. And you can see those deadly Templar in the mix. Scary. They just kind of float around. So spooky. And I don't like seeing them, especially as a Terran player, because then if I have Marines and Marauders, they get destroyed. And if I have Banshees, which I almost always do, the feedback on those Banshees is just no good. No bueno. No me gusta feedback on my Banshees. And look at this Proxy Pylon going up on the Xel'Naga Watchtower. Good move from our Protoss player, Aristio, or should I say random. And oh my goodness, look at all these Warp Gates. Good Lord Almighty. And with 3 expansions up and running, he might have enough to start seriously pumping. You can see he's up to, he was up to 800 minerals. He probably just pumped out a bunch of units right now. Yeah, you can see them all warping in. Templar and Zealots and Stalkers, oh my! And this is turning into quite the formidable Protoss army. I don't know if the Terran player is going to be ready to deal with this. Oh, I spoke too soon. Yes, he is. With 3 bunkers. Psy Storm won't be able to do jack to that. He does need more Vikings, though. More Vikings. He needs to get more Vikings immediately, or those Colossi are just going to sit outside the range of the bunkers and snipe away at them. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That won't happen because one of these siege tanks will blow away the Colossi if they try to do that. Oh no! Medvac getting caught and taken down by those Stalkers. Excellent play right there. And this expansion is in trouble. He does have a planetary fortress there. You can see the Zealots sprinting right at it. SCVs running in to repair the planetary fortress. Siege tanks horribly out of position. Wow, the Marines and Marauders should have been in front of those siege tanks. But we do have more siege tanks back here. Oh my goodness. So many Psy Storms. So many Psy Storms going down on these units. But they're really not very effective against the tanks. And this Protoss attack, this offensive, will fail. There's no way that the Protoss player is going to be able to take out a planetary fortress, among other things over there. And look at this. The Protoss player, after a failed attack, going for the gold expansion. Not sure I agree with this movement. You need to reconsolidate your forces here, spend money on forces instead of throwing down 400 on a brand new Nexus. What if your Terran opponent had counterattacked right there? It would have been a disaster. And uh-oh, the mighty ghosts are out there with those EMPs. Dun dun dun. EMP rounds knock out Protoss shields. They take away all energy from the High Templar. They make things very difficult. And buildings or defenses getting salvaged there. You can see the bunkers getting salvaged, which probably means he wants to get offensive instead of defensive. He's let the Protoss player come at his Terran defenses and get his army messed up, and now he's thinking it's time for me to get in there and do some damage. Sieging up outside this gold base, and oh my goodness, great EMP. There will be no Psy Storms from these 3 High Templar for a little bit of time, and yes, he rightfully starts morphing them into an Archon because they are useless right now. And oh my goodness, but more Psy Storms going down as more High Templar come in to reinforce, and here comes the Archon, the mighty Archon, trying to do some damage before he's killed, sniped out by siege tanks. Colossi all alone, outnumbered. He needs to get out of there. Run down that cliff, Colossi. Do something. No, but it looks like he got reinforced there, and if he hadn't run right into those siege tanks, he might have survived. But the Protoss lose another engagement there, but he does have this gold expansion. So we'll have to see if the improved macro of the Protoss player will be able to allow him to mount some kind of comeback here. And let's take a look at the unit supply count. We've got 142 over 169 against 106, so a huge disparity there. The Terran player much bigger, much stronger. And does he know about this expansion? He knows something's there. He's got to have his suspicions. He sees buildings. Yes, and he is going to siege up on this ramp. Here come some zealots trying to get in there, making the siege tanks do splash damage to each other. Psystorm's going down on the siege tanks. That's the second time I've seen that. Not sure if I agree with Psystorming the siege tanks. It just seems like a waste of Psystorms that could be used on all these infantry units. But he really does need to get rid of the tanks. So, and he got that one in the red. But it looks like the Terran siege tanks will be able to hold this position, and that is terrible, terrible news for the Protoss player, who is now in danger of losing this gold expansion. That is really his only advantage in this game. He has lost almost every engagement against his Terran opponent, Bratok, and he really, really needs to hold on to this expansion somehow, some way. And the SCV repair crews there making it very difficult as they repair those tanks. And here comes a drop force, 2 medvacs into the main base of the Protoss player Aristio, as he's having to cope with tanks at his gold expansion. Now a drop force coming in, and he's warping in so many units, but they're getting hit as they're warping in. He really should have warped them in a little farther back. Archon now coming out, as well as some Colossi to deal with that attack. And wow, we've got some long distance mining going on here. That's odd for a Terran player. And all mining has been stopped. Well, almost, except for one little probe mining some gas here. But other than that, all mining has been stopped at the gold expansion. So excellent play with the siege tanks by the Xel'Naga Watchtower. And I don't know where those dropships are going, but I'm sure they're going to cause trouble. Here comes... oh my goodness, the Protoss player expanding again, opting to expand rather than try to take back his gold expansion. And he is going to have to deal with a fearsome Terran attack coming in now. All these units some units getting dropped up here. And look at those zealots running in there doing a lot of damage to these tanks. Wow, I don't think the Terran player was ready for such a fearsome attack. And Immortal's now in the mix. Immortal's a great choice when you're up against a lot of tanks. But the EMPs from those ghosts rendered the hard shields useless. He really needs to find a way to snipe out those ghosts and get rid of them. More forces being warped in here so quickly out of all these gateways. He just turns his resources into units so quickly. One of the advantages of being Protoss. And it looks like he is going to manage to just barely drive back this attack. And he drives it back to where the siege tank is still in position by the Xel'Naga Watchtower, still shelling away at this Nexus, and it turns and starts doing some damage to the forces that were attacking. And look at this, down here at the bottom, the Protoss player just losing another Nexus. So that's 2 expansions that he has either killed or stopped from mining, and he does not want to stop this harassing attack either, with this Foxer Boxer style of loading units into a medvac, doing some damage, and then bringing in units from outside to put further pressure on and support. Very excellent play. And you can see the concussive shell slowing down those retreating zealots, really making it difficult to pull back. And this is an intense matchup between these 2 players. Right now, I give the advantage firmly to our Protoss player, Bratok, though, as Aristio is way behind in supply, 173 versus 90. And he keeps coming in with those zealots, keeps trying to push back this attack, but I don't know if it's going to work. He's just too far behind in supply, really, I think, to come back at this point. He could make me eat my words. I've seen stranger things happen in StarCraft, and EMP going down there weirdly at a place where I guess those stalkers must have blinked away from it, and that's what he was trying to hit with that. Those ghosts just being so effective at knocking out Protoss shields, I don't really know, and disarming the High Templar. Oh my goodness, another High Templar that will never get to Psystorm, and Aristio GG's out. That's just too much for him. So yeah, Bratok wins that one.